Hi, and welcome to my podcast. It's episode 3, and today we're talking everything heat pumps. Today we've got a special guest, Damien Blakemore, who is an expert within this industry, and we're going to get all the information we need from Damien to explain what heat pumps are, what they do, the best way to go about getting one, will they fit your property, and is it the best route to go down? So let's bring Damien in and have a look. Welcome, Damien.
Morning, mate.
Could you just give us a brief introduction of who you are, your business name, and what you specialise in?
I'm Damien Blakemore. I own Blakemore Plumbing, Heating, Renewables. At the moment, more or less just air source, but I do a lot of Wiseman boilers, like leading installer South Yorkshire, Yorkshire way for it. More specialised stuff with them, low temps and whatnot. Solar thermal as well. Ground source, odd bathroom, boiler repairs, etc. But I tend not to try and do them at the minute.
So you've got a wide variety of knowledge of all the different products and services people can go down, different systems and that kind of thing, which is quite interesting because for me, I just do gas. I've got my oil and LPG, but I've always stuck to that side of it. And I'm really interested in the air source, low temp kind of stuff. And that's obviously coming, whether we like it or not. So it's something that I've wanted to sort of delve into and get a bit more knowledge in myself so I can advise my customers and they can come here and get that information. So welcome, mate. Thank you for coming on. What does energy efficiency mean to you?
To me, just using less energy for the same outcome on a job, you know. That's a boiler, raising that efficiency and using less energy, less cost to customer to keeping your house warm. That's going to an heat pump, multiplying that efficiency to get the same outcome, you know, for your warm house. And with that, you get a lower carbon footprint as well. So it comes in hand in hand. So
it's one of them. I don't know. One of them things that's everybody's banging on about these days is energy efficiency. And the reason I ask that question is because energy efficiency is such a broad subject. It's hard to sort of just pinpoint the one thing, what it is. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to save money as well as save the planet. So if we can do that by reducing our energy consumption in terms of gas, oil, whatever we use for that fuel, it's going to benefit us massively. So yeah, I understand that completely. So in terms of heat pumps then, what could you explain to us what a heat pump actually is, whether that's air source, ground source, and how the work in a sort of easy to understand way?
Just using the air, dragging that across evaporator, and then just transferring that heat and putting that into your house. Just like a back to front fridge, just like it's an air conditioning unit, but other way around. You're taking heat from outside. F-gas guys call it rejection and absorption. So you're absorbing that heat from the air. You're then changing that state, and then you're rejecting it into the house. And then that's just a process. So you're literally just taking one heat from one way, but the difference with the air source is it's multiplying that energy as it's coming across. So if you're using, I don't know, a kilowatt and you've got a copper 4, as you're putting a kilowatt through it, you're changing that into 4 kilowatts for your house. So then you're getting like your high efficiencies at 400%. There's something called Open Energy Monitor, which is an online, I can supply you a link for it. There's that's third-party monitoring, so you can get your air source, flow switch, temperature sensors, and what you can see actually what your system's doing. At the moment, I've got one with Adam Chapman as well. We're like top 2, we keep swapping around. It's like at 5.1 since it's been installed, so 510% efficient. All that we are low tariff as well. You know, charging you hot water overnight and you're putting it into that. You might be paying 6p, 7p for your electric instead of 30. You couple it with solar and battery, you literally, that's where it comes into its own against gas.
Hybrid system would always work best. Is that what you was getting at there? Would that be?
No, not one that I potentially like is the Intergas one. because it'll strap onto any open firm boiler. But when you look at like the Alpha hybrid as such, you've got a set Alpha at 33 kilowatt, which is already going to be oversized for a lot of hot water and a lot of heat. I know it flicks in. I don't really like the setup on it. Hybrid for me is when you're looking above like 16 kilowatt and you're looking onto like a cascade of heat pumps. So a bigger property, usually solid stone walls or quite rural, at that point you're then looking at if you can run, and an hybrid for me needs to run 80% a year minimum. There's no point, I don't think, you're putting an hybrid when you're only getting 30 or 40% of your heating load out of it, because you're going to be top end. You might be like 7-8 degrees upwards that your heat pump will only work. Below that, what's the point in using gas below that? You might as well not have any pumping at all, So I think there's a lot of greenwashing with hybrids. They do have a place, but it's quite a difficult one with that.
It's an interesting point of view, mate, because obviously this is new to me, and it's good conversation to put out there, because if us are engineers, I'm an engineer and I'm having this conversation with you, what's the typical homeowner thinking? It's such a grey area as to what you have installed, what's best for you.
Once you start delving into the renewable world, it's horrible. You've got like people that are paying like £16,000-17,000 for installs, and they run it like cops at 2.5, and then by MCS accredited companies, and no, it's done, and it's an eye opener because it's bad, and in a way it's been good that heat pumps are being pushed, because it's been able to put light on it and hopefully be able to like get these installs sorted out for people, because it just seems like it's a free for all.
Honestly, mate, I've heard a lot of horror stories about people that have had heat pumps installed and it's costing them twice as much in energy to run these systems. But that must be what you're talking about. They're running just at the wrong efficiency level.
The higher you go with your flow temperatures, less efficiency you get out of it, because the heat pump's working harder. If they're done wrong, the electric's expensive, and you can't just turn it up like you can a gas boiler. You ain't got that redundancy because your efficiency start dropping off. You get into winter, if they're running poorly, you're then starting to defrost. While you're defrosting, you're pulling heat from house or from buffer, you're not putting heat into house. So you like get into like a bit of a death spiral, and you can never get out of it. And
that's to do with the design in the first place.
Yeah, so they'll always defrost. It's to do with, I think it starts around, if you look like at an EB graph or a Weismann graph, it's like when you're sizing them, you have to take this into account. Between 5 and like -2 around, you will start getting a lot of moisture in the air. So as it's pulling that moisture across the evaporator, it's starting to freeze up, and heat pump will start to freeze. And then once it freezes, it reverses and takes heat from the house, passes it back through the heat pump, and it melts it. So good system design, you need a minimum volume. You'll never notice that. The Weismann's a bit different. It has like a built-in defrost buffer, so that just heats up and just passes around. But normally, that's how it works. So if your house is warm, you pull that heat out, you defrost, then you're trying to put that heat back into your house, but it's a badly designed system. You can't get your house up to temperature. It defrosts again. You're pulling that heat out from your house that's not up to temperature, defrosting again, and then you're going back and back and back and forth. And you're just going to start stripping house heat. Your house is not going to get warm. Your electric's going to be sky high because it's just working its nads off. And then that's where you have stories and that coming in. To be honest, it's not hard to do right. They're like, in the simplistic form, is how heat pumps work best, like one pump, no buffer, depending on what situation, and just weathercom, just letting them run. Just an heat source. Your house don't change. You do a good heat loss, you get a good design, you install it well, and you commission it well. No different to what we should have been doing on boilers. I think we're overcomplicating everything, and I can see why people are scared and don't want to go in there, but it's not that difficult, you know. And I can do it. There's plenty of people that can do it, because I'm by far smartest thing, you know. It's
the thing is,
yeah,
like, but you worry about these things because it's such a huge outlay. You know, you can go, you've got a gas boiler in, and to replace that gas boiler, it's going to cost you $3-4 grand, whatever, or a heat pump's going to cost you what on average? I've got no idea.
average for my install between 14 and 22,000, but then minus a 7.5. So
yeah,
but
just to minus the 7.5 is a government incentive.
It's a government grant, yeah. So if you qualify with cavity wall loft insulation, or if you're going from gas or direct electric as such, but you have to remember we're not just comparing a boiler swap here. Like if you're going into house and just putting a combi in for a combi, you've got to put it in right context and compare it like for like. So if you're doing a low temperature system that's future proofed with gas and then an air source, your air source will come in cheaper because you've got no VAT and you've got that 7,500. And if you're doing a low temperature gas, all that work internally, radiators, pipe sizing, exactly the same as what you would do in a heat pump system. That's where, but a lot of people just aren't wanting that. They're not going to spend it. They're just going to get a gas boiler. Gas is cheap, you know. So problem we've had is we've abused cheap pricing of gas, high temperatures, non-condensing. So people just do that and still be paying cheaper, just running it as and when they want, on off. So people are going to stay with that because they're not the savings. If you don't, it's expensive to get a heat pump running right and doing it properly the way you've got to. Unless you've got to hit that 3.5 mark to get your equality with your 6p, 7p for gas, 30p for electric as such, or it might even be cheaper for gas now. But then if you look at like some of the stuff that the EatGeek do, like I think every install that they've done is running above 4, you know, so you're paying that little bit more, but you're getting like a
quality job.
You're getting everything right. Yeah, you're getting what you pay, and then you're running cheaper than gas. So then you've got to obviously work out your capex versus your opex. That's a bit above my head, but then you get you can work out your payback period. But for a lot, people aren't doing this just to reduce the bills. If you're going into it to reduce your bills, you're going into it wrong. You know, because
it's interesting.
Your payback is you probably won't get it, but then what's your payback on a car? What's your payback on a kitchen? You know, you've got that moral payback as well because you're doing it to save planet that's never took into account. You're lowering your carbon. I think it knocks about a third off it when you go
it's
into
not always
source
financial, mate, is what you're getting at there, is it?
There's a lot of gains to it, and it all depends what your personal need is. I've never had anyone come to me and say we want an air source to save money. You know, they all do it for their moral obligation as such to lowering their footprint and their life, and it's a lifestyle change for a lot of people, and they wanting to do it, and you can see it changing with a lot of people. There's a lot of solar and PV now, and you get that with heat pump as well, like your holy trinity as such, and it's good.
So my worry is that obviously it's been people are massively aware of heat pumps and low temp systems now because of the government pushing. But is that going to force people into getting something that won't work in their property? Because surely a heat pump isn't going to be the best option for every property.
No, that's why there's different solutions for every property. You know, you can't just say one fits all. Flats, apartments, for example, you might be better off with like little air conditioning units, air to air. You might be better with just direct electric heating. You know, just like a hot water cylinder won't be everywhere. There's sun amps, there's mixed ways of doing it. There's air source heat pumps, cylinders themselves. So you've got to take every job on its own basis. When people said it don't work in every property, an heat pump can work wherever. You know, it's you have certain rules you've got to get to, your boundaries, your planning.
Same as anything. There's rules and regulations around every source.
Yeah, they'll heat wherever you want. I mean, you look around, they've been in factories and buildings for years. You know, when you go past pubs or supermarkets, or if you've been in office spaces, they're all heat pumps, just air conditioning units, just air to air. That's all. You know, it's so that they've been around. They kind of see like it's a new thing, and that, and it's no isn't getting put in domestic housing, but yeah, there's no problem fitting them really.
It's not like they're a new product out there on market. They've been around a long time, but just
probably 50, 60 a year. I mean, how long have fridges been out? Fridges have got to have been.
And you know what? I've never thought of it like that either. It's just sort of twigged in me when you said then, that, you know, these things are, you know, it's not like the first rodeo, is it? That, you know, they've been around a long time.
Yeah, no.
It means that you know, I'm doing a conversion at the minute, a full repipe conversion it's in a terraced house, and that for them they wanted a new combi boiler fitting in a terraced house. Not a lot of space in there. We're repiping the whole lot, but there's just no space nowhere for a heat pump. So that was the best option for them. But what I'm trying to do with this is open people's eyes to the fact that there ain't just one option. You know, sometimes heat pumps will be a better option, or air source, ground source, whatever you want to fit is. You know, there's a different option for every scenario, and there's no one size fits all. So, because what I'm finding is when I'm going to quote a new boiler, for instance, it'll be, will I be better off with a heat source, you know, with an air source, sorry, and is gas going to run out? is the next one, you know, is gas going to run out, and am I better off fitting a heat pump? You live in a property that's all wooden windows and doors, never been insulated in its life. Surely that's got to be done before you're installing a heat pump. Otherwise, that value that you was talking about will be really low.
Yeah, this is where it gets a bit frustrated with this. Like they were pushing insulate first, well insulated property. How is everybody branding a well insulated property? You know, you could go into a terraced house, 7 kilowatt heat loss. You've got 300 mil loft insulation. You've got cavity wall. You've then got a party wall. You've insulated under your ground floor suspended because you've got cellars. Nah, that's still 7 kilowatt heat loss. So people saying that's not a well insulated house because it's 7 kilowatt. It's all your heat loss is all relative to the size of your property as well. Now, if you went in the house, you had no cavity wall, you had no loft insulation, you had no underfloor, ground floor on the suspended floor insulation. Heat loss 12 kilowatt. I'd say that were a fully insulated house, but that one at 7 kilowatt, I'd say that were well insulated. So that's where people saying you need to insulate first and bring it down is confusing. At some point, spending more on insulation the cost of it just doesn't justify doing it. You could have 300 mil loft insulation and then, I don't know, spend another $2,000 on taking it up to 400, but you might only save 200 watts. Is that worth it? Because in my eyes, that's not worth it. You're not gaining anything. When you go from nothing to something, you get big gains. When you go from something to something, it's not as big, and then you have to look at your cost of it against what you're actually going to achieve. Because saving a few hundred watts for spending a lot of money, just in my opinion, is not worth it. So that's where this insulate first gets a bit confusing, especially to customers. So an heat pump will work wherever. Obviously, the bigger heat loss you've got, the bigger heat pump you have, then the more energy you're going to use. You tend to in the bigger properties where I just finished one on Friday. That were 2 hours knocked into one. He had like 16.5 kilowatt heat loss. We've had to use two. We're actually on my first cascade, two Neebs, 10 kilowatts. They drop off at -2. They'll only give me about 8.2-ish each. So covers my heat loss on it. We've had to use 17 aluminium radiators, repipe lot, 2 different systems. That coming at like nearly 40,000. He's then had Tesla batteries, PV. So something like that, an hybrid, what we talked about. But he wanted to go straight. He wanted this house done, future-proofed and that. Like not a lot of people are going to be able to afford that, you know, for a lot of people. But then they've bought an house that they've knocked into 2. So
it's all right having your values at, you know, I want to be energy efficient, I want to help the planet, I want this, but there's a cost to doing that, like you've just said, and it depends on how much you value that, and moving forward, like that guy with the hybrid with the batteries, solar PV that's powering the air source. That all costs money to get installed in the first place, doesn't it? So it's not for everyone in the house.
I think when I spoke to him, I think he'd spent with the air source and the solar and the PV, because he had that solar and PV stuff done previous. I think his whole lot coming at about £33,000 for the full lot for his house.
Right.
Certain his payback's not going to be as long. I mean, through summer, he were making, I think he made about £300 a month sending electric back. So his solar payback will be quite lower. He's now got the heat pump, so he's even using less to heat his water and his electric. That'll be freeing summer to him. So his payback period is going to be quite high. I mean, I know you're having Adam on. They'll have some more figures on timings to get for your paybacks. I think they had to play about with some figures at ways to do it, but it all depends on what you're wanting to do. Is it for every home, or are you staying there for a long time? I won't go into every home and say, let's do it. I still do gas. Weissman's all a fit. You know, I still do low temperature gas systems. I've actually got one coming up later on in this year. We're putting a 16 kilowatt Vitacal in. We're putting a 19 kilowatt LPG boiler in because he wanted backup for the winter, and he's got existing solar thermals, so we're redoing that and bringing that in. So it's all under Weissman, like one base platform. He's just running solely off heat pumps at the minute, but they struggle when they get down to minus temperatures, colder temperatures. So we come up to this, so LPG will just take over around about zero. He's got no issues then, you know. So there's a time and a place for everything. It's just what's best for that customer. What can they afford? What are their goals? What are they wanting to achieve as well? You know, if you just go to someone and they say, we want this because we want to save money, well, spending £15,000 to £20,000 on something and then only running at the same cost as what gas isn't going to save you money. So at that point, just look at controls for the gas boiler. How can they save doing that? Whether that's Evo, zoning, open firm, whether that's just adding weather comp, you know, there's different things you can do with gas boilers. This is a big thing to forget as well. We can reduce his carbon footprint a lot by just changing where we use his gas boilers, by changing controls on it, which were I think that were a big thing missed by government. I know they brought out 5% VAT on saving controls, but as engineers, we could save them so much time, priority out water, running two different floors. You know, there's loads you can do with a gas boiler to bring that down. You might only be saving them 30-40 quid a year, but you take that over a full country for every gas boiler that's there, and then you're looking at your gas savings. It's stupid.
40 quid to anybody over a year isn't a great deal, but you times that by amount of properties in the UK, it's huge, isn't it?
Energy savings down, carbon savings down, and In
terms of adding value to a property, do you think that having a air source, because what we do is as families especially is you get your home, you sort of live in it for a period of time, you either outgrow it and you move on. So to fit something that is going to be giving you a return on your investment in, say, I don't know, 20 years, you might not be there for 20 years. So in your opinion, does it add value to the property? Can you pass that on to the next person who's going to buy that property?
Adding value at a minute. I think there will come a time where house sale changing will change. I know you get your EPCs at the minute. They're going to start changing to, because I had an EPC done the other day and it actually went down for having a heat pump in and with hot water. It reduced rating on it. That's all going to change. I think new SAP comes in as well soon. I think it will do eventually, but I don't think at the minute. I think if someone turned up and saw they got an heat pump and, you know, we all bad press and that, I think they'd be like, you know. Some of them
Yeah.
some of them aren't slightly. I probably get shot for saying this, like, but like some of them don't look good, and a lot of people come, and when they look at an house, they look at it, they look at kitchen, they look at, not so much look at the boiler, but if they've got an heat pump outside, they'll look at that and think, oh, I don't like that. It's where we work. We like everything to look nice, bar his heating system. So at the minute, I don't think it would. I think solar and battery would be more appealing. If an house had solar and battery, I think people would appeal to that. But we need pump. I think you'd have to be a certain type of person for it to add value to you. But I do think there'll be a time where it comes to change.
It's interesting you say that, mate, because the guy that I had on to discuss solar battery PV, he said that. He said, look, I reckon it would add value for solar and battery storage. But you're right in what you're saying. They're an eyesore out there. It was not the best looking thing in the world, is it?
No. And depending how they're done, they just chucked on guard and they just chucked on slabs. I mean, done nicely, they can look quite well. There's some nice looking units now, but yeah, they are unsightly as such.
So what long-term benefits does a heat pump offer?
You're reducing your carbon footprint. As electric pricing comes down, they'll become more appealing. So if you've got one and your running costs are good, that's only ever going to get better. Because I think at some point as electric is going to be subsidised, taxes are not going to come off and it's going to start dropping down. It's getting you hot water, it's getting you eating, and it's doing it in a way where it's highly efficient.
So you're gonna benefit by energy efficiency savings long term.
Like I say, if you've got solar and battery as well, you can incorporate that, so you can start using that energy. So there's quite a lot of benefits, but there's different ways in which it benefits different people, and future benefits as well. You're benefiting planet by having one. People taking that into account. Some will, some won't. Some will just look at what money side of it is. Like I say, it depends what person you are. It all has a different every person will have a different reason for wanting to do it. So the benefits will be different for each other.
Yeah, so it's very personal, mate, and it just depends on what you value.
Yeah, it's a person. I think that with a heat pump is a more personal choice than just getting a gas boiler. The time's coming now where people actually are bothered about the heating system.
Just in terms of choose, I'm going to spin this a bit, mate, because we've focused a lot on heat pumps, and there's a lot there that to take in. Even it's going to be hard to understand all the variable different factors for a customer, because there's a lot to chunk down even for me. It's like it's not just a one size fits all system. There's many different factors you need to think about when getting one installed. But what that boils down to for me is choosing the right installer who's got the knowledge to be able to do that for you. And how does a customer go about doing that? So how does a customer go about finding the right person for the job? Because the government's pushing, go heat pump, go solar, do this, do that. But where do you find the right people? Because there's a lot of guys out there, like you've said, that have give this whole thing bad press because they have no idea what they're doing, because of the incorrect planning, because, so how does a customer know that they're choosing the right company? What would your recommendation be for that?
This is always an hard one, because you normally sell out if it were gas, go to gas safe. So we eat, so you air source your ground, just heat pumps as such. You'd be looking at MCS, but MCS brings its own issues, because there are a lot of sales companies there that are just subcontracts, and majority of bad installs are done by MCS companies. So it's a place to start, but I'd only use that to look to see they're like a valid company as such. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't MCS that still do them, who use umbrellas and that. So installer recommendations, friends who's had work done, manufacturers, but then there is same as what like MCS are as such. They'll just put anyone through the training and put them on there. eGeek. That's probably one of the best places to look. So you've gone through checks, look at their map, find them, and yeah, recommendations is and then meet them and see. Ask to see if they could speak to some customers. You know, I don't mind them. Last two I've done, they've gone out actually saw one of my customers or saw one of my jobs, and I've got it off back of that. So just find a couple of customers that understand it as well, you know, so they can have that chat with them. And it's always good to talk with them because when talking to me, they're talking to me as an installer and someone I am selling them product, but always giving them advice from an installation point of view. It's always good for them to find and hear that from a customer's point of view.
You can't get a better, introduction to you than a referral from somebody who's singing your praises and telling you that the system works and it is right.
Yeah.
And it is, you know what I mean? Because like you say there, like you're going to get people that are on an umbrella scheme, which for anyone that don't know what that is the installer, and then somebody else comes and does the signing off of that. Is that correct? That's what the umbrella scheme is.
So they'll do. So you have to be MCS registered to be able to get the bus grant. A lot of people don't want that because there's a lot of paperwork involved. I did it just to go on that journey, but it's a nightmare. It costs money. So this umbrella will just do design, do everything, and then pass it out to an installer to do it. But yeah, the majority of umbrella schemes are poor.
I'm just going to say, look, what they want to be looking for is reviews online, Google reviews. Check the company out. Have they been around a long time? Have they done it? Have they done plenty of these installs before? Previous customers. There's no end of sort of due diligence you can do yourself into these people, because I'm a big fan of not getting, not ending up in a situation. Because how many times do you get called for jobs that so-and-so's has walked off this job, or you're taking over somebody else's project? And for me, I've never had to walk off a job once in the last however amount of years I've been doing it. I'm not saying I've never had a problem on a job, but I've always overcome it, And I just believe that you've got to work together and do your due diligence, especially in this field, because at the moment it's so grey. There's so much information out there. So in terms of you and your company, mate, what are your long-term goals? What do you want to achieve in, say, the next 5 years?
So ideally, if it could just happen, is I'd have just one team, a couple of lads, and I want to get like a little like hub, a shop, like what's got like an air source in it, some solar, like a gas boilers, and just like I want to go into more ELOS and just design side, and then just commissioning. That's where I want to be in end. I don't want to be massive because I still want to. There's loads I can do as like a sole trader as such, that quality time that you can give a customer when they ring me, they speak to me. When they have an issue, they speak to me. When there's something wrong, it's me that sorts it. I still want to be able to keep that side of it, because I think wins me a lot of work. That everything's me.
Relationship side of it. There's only one of you, isn't there?
Yeah, just one team. Doing a little bit on tools. Still like installing and how it looks and doing that as well. But yeah, my body's not going to take lumping heat pumps around on my own for another 20 years, they're heavy units. I like an apprentice or a young lad to train, but I also want to be able to get them that quality time. I just feel at the moment, with how busy I am, I won't be able to spend that time with him, and I don't want someone to just come and just be carrying or passing stuff or doing that, because then they're not going to like it and they're not going to stay. If I want that, I'd like to be able to give them my time, be able to slow down on jobs, let them make mistakes, let them do stuff.
I like that point, mate, because I'm massive on training these guys right. And I've got an apprentice now, and he's in his coming up third year. And first year, there's a lot of information to take in, and you don't realise how little they know. So you expect them to be able to pick up a drill and drill a hole in a wall. That needs teaching. That needs how to hold the drill, how to hold it against the wall, how to push it in. All them little tiny skills need teaching, and it all takes time. So you're at a loss. You're at a massive loss in the first year, especially when you're taking apprentices on, because you've got to invest that time into them. Now, in my
Yeah,
third year,
a day might be a job that takes a day, might be a day and a half on an heat pump install. I'm probably looking at another 2 days on top. Because you've got to let them make mistakes. You know, everyone asks me like, how did you get into heat pumps and do that? And like, I don't know. I just went and just did it, and then you just take a job on, and I only learn, the best way I learn is by making mistakes, and I make a lot of mistakes. But then you can just do that. I mean, that cascade that I've just done, that I've just jumped into that and just done it. You know, design, everything, just myself. It's working, right? But there were a few things on it that I was like, oh, damn, you know. And then you learn and you change that. So the next one, you know that it's not there. I probably cost myself 2 days on it, but it's invaluable stuff that you won't learn anywhere else.
I'm massive on that. So you as you're going through your journey in anything, like I do business development, personal development, all that kind of stuff. But like you learn from your mistakes. That's what you do. You know, you make a mistake, you learn from it, and you move on.
You can sit down and read every book in the world, and then not know nothing. You know, there's only so far that reading can take you. You know, you need to get out there, and at some point you just need to go out there and do it.
I can tell that you're a kind of guy that likes to help people, mate. Because obviously that, I mean, and most people are. You know, like what I found is I get a lot of apprentices. You know, people who are working and wanting to go self-employed, and it's not to do with the energy efficiency side of it, but business in general, and asking for help and support. And I'll always offer that if asked. Do you know what I mean? I want to help these people, and I want to help as many people as I can. So,
thing is, I still ask people for help. So if people are giving me help, I see it as, why don't, you know, it could be a phone call 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes out of your day, but then that could proper help them out, you know, and like just for that little bit of time. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it gets annoying if phone's going like 50 times and you're trying to get something done. Then you can get annoyed with it. But if I'm asking for help myself and not expecting it from other people, but asking them other people for it, then why can't you give some from your own time for someone else?
When I first set up, I I had this fear that I was going to be competition to everyone in the area, and everyone was going to hate me. A bit of a people pleaser. I like to, you know, I don't like to upset people. You know, I didn't want to come into this area and be like, yeah, I'm the new heating engineer in town. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want that. I want, you know, so I went into merchants and I befriended, you know, I didn't befriend everybody, but I made friends with all the local engineers that I possibly could. Shook their hand, how you doing, mate? I'm new to this. Will you help me? And what I did was I built relationships with them all, because I was ringing them when I come across a problem. And you do, you know, my background was new build. I'm then going into fault finding on boilers, and I've done courses, but still it doesn't teach you. You need to be hands-on. And I'd call upon these people. And what's happened is, obviously, as time's gone on and you've made that mistake and learned from it, that mistake, learned from it, and then you sort of cross over this line where the new guys coming in are now ringing you, and it's my time to pay back to these guys to pass on the knowledge that they passed me, if you understand that. So I'm sort of now advising guys that are just coming through into industry or just coming through self-employed and need that help with that breakdown or that business decision, or, you know what I mean, whatever that may be for them. Damon, as we're about to wrap this up, I just want to ask you a question that I've asked all the other guests, and it's a funny moment that's happened to you within your work career. It doesn't have to be within the industry you're in now, just something funny that's happened to you over the years.
Once worked at council, we fitted a bathroom in wrong house at wrong street. It went wrong. It went wrong. It went wrong area. Street name was still the same. So I went and knocked at the door, said we had to fit bathroom, ripped it all out. They never said nothing. We went in and put it in. And then a few weeks later, they rung up and asked. Customer had rung up saying, why hadn't this been done? And then they come back to us and said, and then we looked and we realised we'd gone to the wrong area and put it in the wrong house, but they never told us.
So you fit a bathroom in somebody else's house and they never said a word?
Never said a word. It was another council property, but they never said. So we went in, changed bath, pedestal and base, and like retiled it. And
yeah. I used to do them. I used to do them council refurbs when I worked at the last company I worked at. So you get sort of schedule of works and just go into that property, first fit, second fit, all that kind of stuff.
right, yeah.
It'd be quite easy to do that.
Yeah, Rotherham Council, 15 years. I did my apprenticeship there, and then with them for 10. So yeah, we did a lot. But yeah, they used to be buggers. They never used to tell you stuff and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I did it with a kitchen sink and all, and we did some guttering at wrong house. So it kind of just
become the norm.
Yeah.
Just where am I working today? I'll work at that house there. So whereabouts can we find you then? Where on your socials? Whereabouts are you based?
I'm based in Sheffield, but I do travel to fair work all over UK now. I'm in Anglesey soon, actually, doing an heat pump over there for a week. Go to Belfast as well for to fit a water treatment plant. I do quite a lot on Twitter. I like Twitter because of interaction and whatnot. Facebook, Instagram, I don't really use that much. I'm on them, but so yeah, Twitter, my website.
Well, thank you very much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. So, Damien, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on, answering all the questions that I had for you, but giving people valuable knowledge and information. There's so much in that people are going to get so much value from it. Because me as an engineer didn't really understand the process and how it works, but like just delving into that, I've realized that there's so much more to it that I need answers for as well, you know. So thank you for that, mate. It is much appreciated. And yeah, can't thank you enough. So I'll see you later and thank you.